Hey guys, welcome back to New York Sports MC. If you haven't already, please take a second to go down and click the subscribe button to the channel, click the notification bells, like and comment on the videos, man. That's what I really do this for. I love interacting with you guys in the comment sections. But as promised, we're going to go to a second mock draft after the initial wave of free agency here. This is one where, again, I use the NFL mock draft database. It allows you to make trades. You don't have to be a subscriber or anything like that. So if you guys want to mess around in there too, NFL mock draft database. So in this mock, I was able to make the trades that I wanted to make to go ahead and target the people that I want to target. And this is one of the things that I always said about Maccagnan that I hope Joe Douglas is obviously different with, is we need to be aggressive in a draft. Whether it's trading down and accumulates more picks so that we can trade back up later, which is kind of what I did. But you have to have people that you target. I understand best player available. But at some point, if that best player available on your board is at a position of need and it's a few picks ahead of you, go up and get that person. Don't sit around and wait for him. And that's what we did with Maccagnan too much. We'd sit around and wait in our early rounds and then just trade back and accumulate nothing later on. So in this draft, I was able to address a lot of our needs because I made the trades to go up and move around and get the people that we need, or the people at least that I feel we need. So let's hop right into this here. Obviously, come onto the clock at pick 11. I wanted to trade down. I wanted to accumulate a few more assets so that I can maneuver back up for certain people and have that flexibility later in the draft. So I looked at Atlanta first because I know that all those rumors came out about Atlanta possibly calling us to move up to 11. They don't have a lot of draft capital. So if they're getting traded up with us to 11 and give us some extra picks, it's going to leave them with only, I think it was like 4 picks left in this year's draft, which I don't see them doing that. I don't see themselves leaving themselves with so few picks in the draft. The only other way that they can move up is if we potentially get picks for next year. And that's not something I wanted to do either. I want to address the needs this year. I wanted extra picks in this year's draft. So I traded with the Denver Broncos. So there has been rumors that the Broncos could target one of these receivers. They could target one of these tackles, right? Grab a receiver to pair with Sutton, or grab a tackle to help protect Locke. So I said, let's go ahead and trade with the Broncos. We traded the number 11 pick to the Denver Broncos for number 15 and the Broncos' third round pick, which is number 77. So now we come on the board at pick 15. The top 4 tackles are gone. The top 3 receivers are gone. So Judy, Ruggs, and CeeDee Lamb all off the board. So I went with offensive tackle from Houston, Josh Jones. I am high on this guy. I have a buddy of mine who is in Houston. He is a season ticket holder for the Houston program, and he absolutely loves this guy. The more and more I look into him, I think that if he would have went to a bigger school, he would have been talked about with these top 4 guys. I think there's the top 4 guys, then you have Jones is like right there on their tail, and then there's the drop off to Austin Jackson. So I would be extremely excited if we were able to pick up a 3rd round pick and get Josh Jones. I actually probably prefer Jones over Becton. The thing that scares me about Becton is he was a late high riser because of his athletic ability, and that always scares me. I want to see what he's doing on film, right? Based on the film, Becton was not going to be talked about as a top 10, top 15 pick. He was going late 1st round. So I hate when we're in shorts and all of a sudden people start jumping up boards, because that's where you can really mess up and you could really reach on a player. So Josh Jones, offensive tackle, round 1. Now we go down to round 2, pick 48. And you guys know, I've said this in a lot of my videos, I am very big on Damon Arnett, cornerback from Ohio State. He is a man press corner, very, very aggressive, fits the Greg Williams mold of a cornerback, right? He is very good at coming up in run support, which is also something that Greg Williams values very highly. Some of the negatives on him, if you can call them negatives, as they say, he played with a great cast around him, but then why are we not saying that about Okudah, right? I know Okudah is definitely better than Arnett. There's a reason Okudah's going to go top 5, but you don't hear people saying, well, he had a great pass rush when you're talking about Okudah, so why are you going to say that with Arnett? He gets a little emotional, gets in trouble, and could let his emotions get high. So there's a lot of potential with Arnett. I'm very excited to get him in here. I think he can compete right away for that cornerback number 2 with Desir at number 1, and obviously Poole in the slot. So I select Arnett. I think he's a day 1 starter for us, unless Bless Austin makes a huge jump, which I think he can. But it would be nice to see those two compete in the offseason and preseason. So now, after pick 48, I had us making our second trade. And this one, Joe Douglas is going to call up his buddies in Baltimore to move up back into the second round. So we're going to take picks 68 and 79, our 2 third-round picks that we have currently. And we're going to trade it to Baltimore for pick number 55 in the second round, pick 106, which is their compensation pick in the third round, and actually pick 158, which is a 5th-round pick. The reason I'm going up here is there's a wide receiver that I really want. And in a lot of these mock simulators, I can actually get him in the third round. He kept going 2 picks before our 79th pick in most of the mocks that I had, that I was doing. But I really think he's going to be a second-round pick. And that's Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver from USC. I'm taking him at pick number 55, even though knowing in this simulation I could have waited at 68 and probably got him. Actually, I think he was going a few picks before the 68 pick. That's what he was going, a few picks before the 68, not the 79. Sorry. I could have traded up to like the top of the third round and got him, but I really think he's going to be a second-round pick. This guy's 6'4". He was a huge playmaker, immediate day 1 starter for us. You pair him with Brashard Perryman, with Crowder, and the receiver I'm going to be selecting later, and we have a very nice wide receiver crew here. Pittman also does have, well, albeit a little bit, they only overlapped for 1 season where Pittman was actually playing, but he has that rapport and relationship with Sam Darnold. So I think that plays up too. I think I'm hoping that Darnold feels the same about Pittman. Hopefully he's over there banging on the table to get him, voicing his opinion that he wants Pittman here. But yeah, I see Pittman as being a second-round pick. I know some people are going to say, no, he's a third round. I want him, 6'4", big playability, go up and get it, security blanket for Darnold. This is somebody that's going to grow with him and be here with him, hopefully for the next decade. So now I still do have pick 77 in the third round, which I received from Denver in that trade to move from 11 to 15. So now we're on the clock at pick 77. And I went with John Grenard, edge rusher from Florida. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about him. I am very big on this guy. I had him in my mock 1.0 post-free agency. I'll link that for you guys here. You can read hear my thoughts on him on that one. But I am very, very big on him, and I would love for us to get him in this upcoming draft. So now we slide down to pick 106. This is that third-round compensatory pick that we got from Baltimore in the trade-up in the second round. I have us drafting wide receiver from Liberty, Antonio Gandy Golden. Now, Gandy Golden could easily go in the fourth round. I'm picking him with a compensatory pick in the third round, so it's essentially a fourth-round pick anyway. This guy has all the potential in the world. 6'4", 223 pounds, extremely fast. NFL.com has his pro comparison as Devontae Parker. So, has that ability to really develop into a starter, high-end starter. Some of the areas of weakness, he had issues with concentration drops in 2018. He also has issues with press corners, and seems like from reports that doesn't favor really going over the middle. So it seems like physicality, even though he's such a big guy, is something that he would rather shy away from. I think that's something they can work with him as he starts to get bigger, more confident, grows into his body a little bit more. That's what happens with a lot of these guys. They're young and they're 6'4", right? They're not. Pittman's a little bit more seasoned. He played a little bit more. Had an NFL dad, right? He's probably filled out into his body a little bit more. Gandy Golden, I think, has that potential to be a huge steal at pick 106. Let him get with Hines Ward. Let him get with Coach Jefferson and really develop him. What I like about that is he has a lot of potential, but we chose Pittman. We have Perryman. We have Crowder. So there's no rush for Gandy Golden to be a day one contributor, right? He can kind of learn, develop. He came from a small program. Ease him into this, and maybe after year one, when Perryman is probably gone, that's when he can look to step up into a bigger role opposite of Pittman, with Crowder still in the slot. So now we go to pick 120 in the 4th round, and I have us selecting running back from Florida State, Cam Akers. Right now we have Le'Veon Bell, we have Trenton Cannon, the running back that we got from the Eagles. So Powell's a free agent. Montgomery's a free agent. Sorry, slipped my mind there for a second, his name. So we really need a backup to Bell. And you hear all the rumors, like I said in my other video, about Gase not wanting Bell. Who knows how long Bell will stay here, where this could be Bell's last year in the Jets uniform. I hope not. I hope that they can work out a deal where get him on a more reasonable deal to keep him a little bit longer. I'm a big fan of Bell. But we still need a backup. He still needs somebody to help spell him from time to time and develop behind him. So Cam Akers from Florida State, 5'10", 217, he ran a 4.4 40. This guy has the potential to be a starter, and I think he's the perfect person to let sit behind Bell, develop a little bit. You guys will know I picked A.J. Dillon with this same pick in my last mock. I would have went A.J. Dillon again, but he actually went earlier, which is what I expected the first time, and was surprised that he was there. But Cam Akers is still a pretty good back here. The big thing with him, the big knock with him, is he puts the ball on the turf too much. He has issues fumbling, but that's something that can easily be coached up. Ask any Giants fan, right? Tiki Barber kept fumbling like crazy early in his career. They just taught him how to carry it a little bit higher and tighter, and people used to make fun when he was carrying it way up here, running down the field. He looked a little silly, but hey, he stopped fumbling, man. So that's something that you can easily work out. His actually NFL pro comp was Duke Johnson, which I've always been a fan of Duke. I've always wanted him to have a bigger role with the team. He's usually on my fantasy team somewhere in my flex spot. So Cam Akers with the 120 pick, I think that's a very good addition for us. So now, as the 4th round was going here, very quickly there after that pick, I decided I wanted to make my last trade and move back up. There was a player that I wanted that I didn't think was going to fall to our 5th round pick, because we had a big gap here between our next pick. So I said, let me go up and get him. Like I said, that's what I really want them to do, target specific people and go get them. So I had Joe Douglas calling another one of his buddies here, calling up the Philadelphia Eagles and saying, hey, man, there's a guy we need here. We want to come up to pick 127. So to go up to pick 127, I traded the 5th round pick, which is 159, which is our regular 5th round pick, and pick 212 in the 6th round to go up to pick 127. Here I'm selecting Robert Hunt, guard from Louisiana Lafayette. Now, Hunt is a big dude, 6'5", 323 pounds. He was a 4-year starter over there, obviously not a bigger program, but I think he could come in right away and compete. I'm not going to say he's going to be a starter day one. I think he would be somebody that could be a nice rotational piece, but he can push Lewis, right? He can compete at this guard position, and in the 5th round, he's given us more depth. He's given us a developmental piece. If you look at some of their weaknesses, there are a lot of technique-based things, right? So if we can clean that up, have him kind of learn a little bit, like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to him starting day one. And I'm all for competition. So let him compete. Alex Lewis, Van Roten as the starters going into camp, with Hunt competing with these guys, learning, developing under them, and then maybe a year from now, Alex Lewis is not back with the team, and there you go. We have Robert Hunt to take over that position. So very high on him in that fourth round. Actually, sorry, I traded up into the fourth to get him. So now we go to pick 158, and this is the pick I got in that trade with Baltimore to when I moved up into the second round, because I gave them 2/3. I got back that late third that was pretty much a fourth and this fifth round pick. And this is where I've been picking them in almost every mock draft I've been doing. I think that it's great value in the fifth round, sixth round. This is a borderline pick right here. Anyway, it is technically the fifth. But I got Rodrigo Blankenship, kicker from Georgia. We need to address this position. We need to get somebody in here that could be more reliable. We cannot continuously leave points on the board because we're missing extra points or we're missing gimme field goals from under 50, right? Like I said, I was a college kicker, and I'll admit I wasn't hitting any 50-plussers. And the 40s was a hit or miss for me, but I was never even close to making the NFL, right? These guys are NFL kickers. If it's under 50, you've got to make that. You've got to be automatic from under 50. Now, the 50-pluses, those can be hit or miss, right? We want you doing a little bit better than 50-50, obviously, from there if you can, but under 50, got to be automatic. Blankenship's one. I think he'd be a great pick for us. We don't have to worry about that. We won't be leaving points on the board anymore. So last pick I had was pick 192. I only have 1 6-rounder now because I traded the other one just recently when I went back up to get Robert Hunt. But I got John Runyon, offensive tackle from Michigan. That name may sound familiar to a lot of you guys. His dad was a Pro Bowl tackle in the league. He's 6'4", 306. I think that this is just a high reward possibility type of guy. Get him in here, let him kind of develop. Obviously, we have Josh Jones to be starting at left tackle from day one. We have Fant and Edoga will be competing at right tackle. I think Runyon's just somebody that's going to be behind these guys, be a depth piece. Somebody that obviously is his father, his techniques there from his father, right? So this is just a shot, hoping that he can develop and possibly be something. Maybe he eventually can take over that right tackle position. But I thought it was a good gamble to take at pick 192 in the 6th round. So that's what I got. Just to recap, we addressed left tackle with Josh Jones in the trade down at 15. We addressed the starting cornerback position in the 2nd round with Damon Arnett. We also traded back up in the 2nd round to address a wide receiver and Michael Pittman Jr. In the 3rd round, we selected John Grenard to address the edge position. The 3rd round, again, a compensatory pick towards the end. We had Antonio Gandy-Golden, wide receiver, to develop and help to address that depth at the wide receiver position and eventually take over as a starter as well. 2 picks in the 4th round. We had Cam Akers, running back from Florida State, helped us with some depth at the running back position. We also traded up to select guard Robert Hunt to compete on the inside and eventually take over at right or left guard. In the 5th round, we picked Blankenship, kicker, address that position, solidify it. And then in the 6th round, we took a flyer on John Runyon with his Pro Bowl genetic DNA from his father as a nice depth piece to hopefully be able to develop into a starting tackle for this team in the future. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said, I would be jumping for joy if this is how our draft played out for us. I was able to, like I said, trade around and get the people that I thought would be great fits to fill needs. But do you guys think that these trades are realistic? What are your thoughts on these moves? Let me know in the comments below. And I'm really excited for the draft. We're under 2 weeks away. I'm going to try to get at least one more up. But let me know what you guys want to think. Should I continue to do different mock drafts with different scenarios? What scenario do you want to see? Do you want to see a wide receiver in the top of the 1st round? Or would you rather me just go into and speak about specific players? So let me know in the comments below which one you guys would rather hear. And as always, man, jet up.